All right, welcome back to the final review of The Last of Us TV series. It is the finale. I have watched it twice. I watched it this morning, but I was feeling super tired. And then I watched it again just now, and I was also feeling super tired. So we're gonna see how this goes. Because I really wanted to watch it again because I felt bad about watching it tired, but it wasn't meant to be. But I really want to get these thoughts out this is the end of this now. I've quite enjoyed doing this, but let's talk about the episode rather than myself. So we're gonna start non-spoiler, and then we're gonna go into spoiler, and then I'll probably just do a bit of a general overall my thoughts on the show that as it's happened. So the finale, it started slightly differently. That sounds like a spoiler, so I'm going to veer away from that. Okay, overall, it was very close to the original source material. I feel like the weirdest thing about it for me for this episode is it left me with the same feeling that I had when I completed the game for the first time, which was, I don't know how to describe it. Like, when I completed the game for the first time, I felt this kind of, I don't know, I guess I didn't feel resolved. I know this is not the point, but I was kind of just like, and I'm really curious. I'm waiting to talk to some people that I know have watched the show but not played the game, to see if they feel the same way about the ending. But I do feel like they nailed the very ending, and that's why I would find it so interesting. Like, because now I watch the ending, I'm like, ba-na-na-na. But this, I don't know, it's just weird how it invokes that same feeling that I had of that sort of like, that's the end? Like, what? Like, I don't know. It's so hard to describe. But yeah, I thought that was done really well. And I did think that a lot of what happened, it was very cool. Again, I have to say, I say it every week. It would be remiss of me to not say it again this week. But set design, on point. Costume design, on point. I think I'm just most impressed about how some of these tiny details are still in the TV series. Like, it just looks like it's pulled out of the game. Like, even at the beginning when Ellie and Joel were walking on that, abandoned highway, freeway, whatever you guys call it. And there's that caravan. That caravan looks exactly like the one out of the game. It's nuts. Even like the hospital and the giraffe scene, like all that stuff just looks. And even the bit where they're walking through that area where it's all like the medical camps, like it's bizarre. Like, I don't even know how they did that, but you guys deserve a clap. Everybody that worked on this. I clapped at the end on a second time in my mind. I was too tired to actually clap. But when I watch something that I feel is good, I'm like, all these people did a great job. I overall, I'd say I enjoyed the episode. It's weird though, because I don't actually enjoy the end of the game that much. Like, the end of the game is quite slow, and quite rightly so. There's not much that really happens. It's kind of just like waiting to get to that very end bit. And then the end, like, I don't know, it just sort of just comes to like the whole pace just slows down, just waiting for the big ending. I will still say, and I say it all the time as well, like, whilst I did think they did a great job, some of the bits didn't quite hit because, again, I like playing the video game. And I think some of the emotions that are evoked are brought through when you play the game rather than watch a TV show. But I did speak to some people today, actually, and they did really like the show. Actually, I spoke to someone today who liked the show better than the game, which I thought was very interesting. They said that they felt more attached to the show, and I was like, damn, that's interesting. But yeah, I think for me, like, certain things like that, when you're actually, in combat, like that, maybe you're an active participant. I guess it's something I wrestle with every week, I suppose, and that hasn't changed this week, clearly. But I think I still prefer playing the game. But I did think it was good. I liked how they navigated from A to B. There were some bits that I'm going to talk about in a sec which I thought were a bit strange, like why they changed certain elements. But I think they did stick the landing. It was short as I expected it to be because there's not actually that much happens. A little sad that we didn't get maybe an infected, but I guess it just doesn't make sense. I'm curious if you haven't watched the show, my main thing is for people that haven't played the game, do they feel like the infected were in it enough? Like, because I don't feel like that. They kind of went for a less is more approach, but maybe that's because obviously in a video game they're the antagonists that you need something to fight and something to shoot and kill, and maybe it'd be a bit overkill if every sec is they're here all the time. So let's move on into spoilers. I feel like I'm getting into that territory anyway. So the episode starts with Ashley Johnson. Oh, should I put my spoiler hand up? Put your spoiler hand up. Playing Ellie's mum, which I thought that was very good. Very good. So it was nice to see Ashley Johnson. The funniest part is hearing like Ellie's just sort of like noises, but not coming out of who I now recognize as Ellie, which was funny. So yeah, now this was interesting. Like they're sort of going for trying to explain why Ellie maybe. Well, actually, they do explain why Ellie is immune later on, which is something that doesn't happen in the game. That was quite interesting. But I guess you have to imagine, even if this wasn't told, that the mum Anna must have been bit while Ellie was, being made. I will say that's not how babies are born. I just like, oh, did a baby. Oh, like that was very quick and efficient baby pushing. So they're sort of saying that now what the difference is like, so there's like receptors in her brain that tell the cordyceps that she is a cordyceps, so they don't actually infect her. And so there would have been a way to actually produce some kind of vaccine. A vaccine, Joel, which she doesn't actually say on the TV show. And they could have rolled down and people would be immune. So I guess that was interesting context to add to it. And then we skip back to, they're showing this is what I wanted to say in the non-spoiler without saying it. I feel like it's more effective that Ellie being a bit distant. I still feel they did a great job, but when you're playing the game and you know that Ellie is distant because she's not doing the things that you normally do with her, and you're trying to have the conversations with her and she's not that, as more impactful to me. So all that happens in the giraffe scene, very good. I didn't feel as teary this time, but I will say this morning when I was watching it, I was like, am I gonna cry right now? I managed to hold it together, all right? I'm a composed adult over here. But there was some bits I was like, woo, shout out. So the giraffe scene, great, had the music too. But an unexpected scene, which also tugged at the old heartstrings, was the story reveal of Joel actually tried to commit suicide the day after Sarah died. That's not something that's in the game, and it was quite an interesting twist of the character. That's how he had the scar, and they had that really nice conversation together about that, and the whole like, I guess time heals all wounds, and he's like, it wasn't time. Because it was you. Like, I was like, that's really nice. I guess the other things I also really liked about this is like, which is why I don't feel like it's, but some of the things I said before felt jarring in the past, but I felt like these ones didn't because they weren't trying beat for beat to match. So there's that, which was a very nice scene, which isn't in the game. And then even the bit when they're looking at the giraffes, that's slightly different. Like they have the callback to, is this everything you ever hoped for? I'm pretty sure that's not in the game. You could correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be wrong. But then she also has a bit more, like, she doesn't just go, after everything we've been through, after everything I've done, it can't be for nothing. Then she normally walks away at the end of that bit. But there was a bit more to it, which I can't quite remember what she talks about. Oh yeah, I'll follow you wherever you go. I was like, good Lord, the feels are happening right now. So I thought all of that extra stuff was very good and really added to, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I did like all that stuff. What I didn't then like was it's the way that they get to the hospital suddenly felt very like some people just came out in the background, just threw some kind of not bomb but knockout gas or whatever at them, and then just dragged it. That felt convoluted to me. That felt like, well, we can't do this big epic like bus thing. How else? Oh, just some people will just come out of the bushes and just attack them, and then it makes it sound like Ellie was conscious, but then they didn't tell her. Like, I don't know. That sounds a bit weird. So Ellie agreed to do something, but they didn't actually tell Ellie what they were agreeing to do to her. So I'm still assuming that she didn't know that whatever was going to happen meant she was going to die. Whereas in the game, I don't know why it's so rushed in the game either. Like, Ellie's unconscious, they're just like, prep her for surgery, take her away. Maybe they just think that would be easier. But I would have rather her been unconscious, I think, because I don't know, that felt weird. So anyway, now they're at the hospital, still Marlene, Joel, great scene, and then Joel gets taken away. And this, I just want to shout out to the music. Now, I've ragged on the music a bit over the course of this, but one of the highlights, and I noticed it this morning when I watched it, was the, I want to listen to it because I thought it was so good. So when Joel is like now going on the rampage through the hospital, they have like a more sinister version of the theme song that, dun, 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 like it's like a cello or something. It's deep and it's just like, oh, that was good. I was like, music on point. Like I thought that was very good. So then he's like going through, and it's more like just a montage of him just like going from room to room, killing all the fireflies until he eventually gets to the hospital and shoots Abby's dad in the head very abruptly. I just go, and then oh, hooker and all that. Now, the other thing that I do miss is like, I do like the bit when he's running in the game, and because I think as a player, that's what you did at the beginning of the game, and now it's come full circle. Like, you're doing it again. There's someone else that you're, another, daughter figure, I guess, that you're holding in your arms and you're running, trying to protect. I like that symmetry a lot in the game. I don't know if I really recognized it the first time I played it, but on a repeat playthrough, I was like, oh wow, this mirroring, I liked it a lot, and that's not quite represented here. Like, I'm not sure people are going to get it the same way as you get it when you're watching the show. Anyway, I also really like, again, the way at the end, how it plays out, the scene in the car, and how he's talking to Marlene, and how it's going back and forth. And that's another thing that's weird. She's like, because I know that Ellie goes, what the fuck am I wearing in the game? But she doesn't question where her clothes are, whereas this Ellie does question where her clothes are. And then he has to make up some bullshit about raiders coming. And I'm just like, that sounded like bullshit. Like, I don't know if anyone, but even she clocks onto that, whereas he doesn't need to explain himself in the game. But maybe that's why they wanted to put it in there, because he has to make up some lie that seems a little weird. Like, okay, cool. So yeah, why would you be like, oh, I'm not dressed anymore? I don't know. So anyway, and then I really like you'll just come after her. Poof! Love that bit. Then we have the scene at the very end, which is they're walking around. This was interesting, actually. They really ham up the Joel talking about how Sarah and Ellie would have got on. And I always thought that was like, I don't know, it felt weird to me here. Like, in the game, I quite like it because like Joel's like, and also I really like in the game that you're experiencing that from Ellie's point of view, which I think gives it a different spin, whereas here I still feel like we're experiencing it from Joel's point of view. Like, we're seeing, like, I don't know, it's really hard to explain how that felt to me. Because he's like, oh well, you're cool, like, you've got a killer smile too, and oh well, you're not the same. Like, he's trying to like rationalize not trying to replace Sarah. I think that's what it felt like in this one. Like, maybe it's for the TV audience to try and like get them. I don't know why I feel like there's like a dumbing down for this show sometimes, but maybe it's like, oh, now he's accepted her as a daughter figure because he's talking about how Sarah and Ellie would have. Whereas here you're Ellie and you're just kind of like, in the game, sorry, you're Ellie and you're just listening to him. And it feels more like reminiscing. Like, he's just like, oh, he used to take walks in the woods because he's like, happy with his new life, but he's not like laboring the point home. I don't know. Anyway, then we get to, of course, to the ending, the scene, which I was like, are they gonna, like, because this needs to be nailed. And I would just like to say, Bella Ramsey nailed it, fucking nailed it. Like, the camera angle, the look, like, she encapsulated that sort of conflicted feeling of the thinking and the okay. I was like, yes. I do miss the older Joel, though, touching his watch, like giving his watch a little bit of as he sort of remembers Sarah. But yeah, I thought that was well done. And then the credits hit and it was over, and I was left feeling like, that's the end. That's the end of the show. And now I feel empty and hollow, and I don't know what to do every Monday anymore. Like, what do I do now? I said that to the office. They're like, watch The Mandalorian. But I ain't got time to watch anything else. I'm like, what do I do? Then someone suggests to watch something else. Like, absolutely not. You think I've got time to watch something else? So there we go. That's my thoughts, I suppose, on the episode. I don't think I have anything else that I really want to pull out. I mean, there was not too much that happened in this episode. Like, we got to the end, we did it. And now I'm just more curious than ever how they're going to pull off season 2, part 2. Because part 2, that's a beast to tackle. Like, this one had a very straightforward, plot, I guess, that you follow. Part 2 is going to be, I really want to play part 2. Which should be interesting. I don't know. I'm very curious. So there we go. That's my thought on that episode. But let's take the spoiler hand down. Now I'm just going to talk about the series as a whole. How did I find it? Now, I think it had some ups and downs, but I think episode 7? Was it even the fall episode that I liked as well? I feel like that the later half was strong. First half, it started well. Then I feel like there was a dip in the middle. All that Kansas City Hunter nonsense, did not enjoy. Fall, meh, and then winter, boof, ending, boof, the beginning, boof, Frank and Bill, woo, that was Frank and Bill. I want to watch that episode again, actually. I might do that at some point. So I thought overall, out of the limited TV or video game adaptions that I've watched on TV and film, this is probably the best. I think what it really is you have to have the person, because Neil Druckmann is the director. There's obviously care that has gone into making sure that this is faithful. Whilst there's a remix or anything, like while there's different nuances of what's happening because it's a TV show rather than a game, the heart of it is still there because the person who created it was there making sure, and you could really tell during certain episodes. Oh yeah, I forgot Left Behind. That was a great episode as well. Like it just felt like it was really made for people both that are fans of the game and for new audiences. And whilst I did have some gripes as time went on, as it started, it felt a little disjointed at places. Overall, I do feel like I watched The Last of Us TV show, and I thought it was good. Would I watch it again? That's a good question. I've not thought about this answer. I think yes, I would like to watch it again, but I think I would maybe skip some episodes. I don't know if that's a travesty, but I can see, I'm someone that would watch something again if I like it a lot. I know a lot of people don't, but I'm like an obsessive or whatever, I don't know. If I like something, I'm all in, I'm watching it again and again. I could see myself maybe coming back, like, oh, I really want to watch that again. Because actually some of the things I really liked, which kind of fizzled out as the show went on, was some of the going back to how things were before, talking about how the outbreak started, seeing how it happened, seeing what life was like when it just kicked off. Like that stuff was cool, but it didn't quite happen as much towards the end, which maybe was good because I did like those end ones where it was more faithful to the original source material. So yeah, that was fun. I'm glad that it was Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, brilliant job. Maybe I enjoyed the later episodes more because I'd now accepted them as Joel and Ellie. That was a very big possibility that's why that happened. But yeah, I thought it was good, and I'm glad I watched it, and I'm glad I was able to do these reviews each week as well, because it was also fun to just speak my thoughts into the universe and see what you guys thought as well. So I think that about wraps up the finale, everything, the Last of Us TV series. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. What was your favorite episode? I think if I'm going to pick a favorite episode, I did like Bill and Frank, the episode 3, a lot. That was really good. I think I liked that the most just because it was so different and it was intriguing. And when the show was still brand new and didn't really know how I felt about it, it was cool to watch something that was new to me. That was a big highlight. Really liked Left Behind. I really liked Winter last week. So I think those are my standouts because I remember I was a bit mixed on the first episode now I think about it. I think because it was just too long and felt a bit weird. I don't know. So yeah, there we go. That were my thoughts. Let me know. What do you think part 2 or season 2 will bring? Who will be cast as Abby? Will we get to see what happened on that day from Abby's point of view? Don't ask me why I keep saying Abby like this, but it's quite fun. But yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait to see how they're going to pull that off, because it's going to be interesting. And you know what? I cannot wait to see. Let's put a big old spoiler hand for this. How are people that have not played the game going to react to Joel dying? How are they going to react when, I don't even know how you can evoke that emotion. We're going to have to see, sorry, now I keep wrapping up the video, but I have to say this now, I'm thinking about it. There is something about playing a video game that when play switches to Abby, that you're like, what? I have to be Abby now, and I have to, play as her and understand why she did what was her motive and try and feel sorry for her and her life, or what? I just don't, I guess you can do it, but I just don't know. I find The Last of Us Part 2, whilst I have my problems with it, I find it's just a fascinating game, because there is the people that, can't get over Joel dying, and then there's the people who just, punish Abby for it. People were throwing Abby off cliffs when they were playing the game, and then me, on the other hand, I was like, I couldn't stand Ellie, and I was like, Ellie, you've gone too far, and that was me just putting the controller down, because I didn't want Ellie to kill Abby. I wanted Abby to kill Ellie, so in that final fight, I'm just like, fuck it, you asked for this, Ellie. So I'm just so intrigued, how they're gonna pull it off, and how a TV audience is even gonna react to that. Because it was a big when it happened in video game land. So that's exciting. That's all to come. Very exciting. I'm actually now going to wrap this video up. So thank you for watching these reviews. And thank you so much for being patient on the ones that I missed. I will say I'll see you again, but I'm sure I'll review season 2 when it comes around. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall catch you all sometime in the future. Because as Ellie said, after everything we've been through, after everything I've done, it can't be for nothing.